banks was a spot of a real weakness coming in, and this has really been the case for the last year. We've been talking about this, all day, in fact, all week. The kind of market cap that these PSU banks have lost, in fact, they're in excess of these massive loss figures that they've been posting. Also, PNB, for example, has lost about 56% market cap in the last year alone, and these are a lot of people who bought into these banks ahead of the recap, on possible good news of resolution coming through. What is the view that you have on PSU banks now? I know you said most of these will have to be carried out on a stretcher, but yesterday we had these comments from the finance minister saying that they have a turnaround strategy in place for the prompt corrective action banks. Does this change your outlook in any way? What are you watching out for these banks?
I think in an election year, my sense is that at least for the next 1 or 2 quarters, most of these PCA banks, that is prompt corrective action banks, we are not going to see any big positive surprise coming in terms of their asset quality. Talking about bigger banks like Bank of Baroda or a UCO Bank or typically a PNB, I would believe that the bond yields have actually risen quite significantly, and that could obviously hit their treasury book in the coming quarter. So operationally, we are going to see a lot of pain at least for the next 1 or 2 quarters, and we may see continuation of losses even for maybe the June or the September quarter. So it's better to look at the private sector banks if any weakness does happen in the market, because I believe that in these weak markets, the private sector banks still have a very strong positioning in terms of their balance sheet, their CASA ratios, and actually in terms of the growth, because most of these PSU banks have lost capital. So I think now growth for these banks is completely absent.